It's 8:41. Welcome back to Sofaland. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with myself, Martin, and this one, Dawn.
Yeah, thank you for pointing at me. Joining us to go through some of the day's headlines is author and broadcaster Nikki Hodgson and former special advisor to Michael Gove, Charlie Rowley. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and bringing some calm... Oh, look at them. No, they're not, are they? Some calm and sanity to the show. I'm going to regret saying that,
but we are kicking off with a really juicy story, Charlie. This is one that broke yesterday. James Daly, the MP for, is it Bury South? Bury North, beg your pardon. Mentioned that CRAP parents were to blame for a lot of his constituents' woes. Came under a lot of flack, although has started a terrifically interesting talking point.
It has, and it's a choice language that he's used, but I think it was part of a wider interview to say that there are some parents that, instead of just throwing money at problems where you have kids that end up falling out of the system in school, that become sort of socially excluded, instead of just throwing money at the problem, you have to actually try and work with parents and work with communities to make sure that those from maybe troubled families can have a better start in life than what they might have otherwise would have. And so I think, as I say, the term that he's used has been jumped upon as a criticism, as if he was sort of just degrading those particular individuals. It wouldn't have been language I would have used, to be fair, to spare him the backlash. But it's an interesting point to say that there are troubled families in society, and we need to help with
the
that.
Rhetoric maybe ruined the point he was making.
Well, we're talking about it.
We are talking about it, and I think it's an important discussion to have. You know, what is wrong with saying that there are bad parents out there and it is not good for children? That is not controversial, surely.
No, and it's quite interesting, isn't it, that the young boy who has just come out of the cult in France actually said that his mum was a great person but not a great mum.
Yeah.
And he made that point himself.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that with this story, you know, and again, I just think it was a bit daft, really, to use that word, because it has taken away from a very serious and quite straightforward topic. It's absolutely fine to talk about parenting, good or bad, and it's important to do it.
Or has it? Because here's the thing. Yesterday, I was on the way in, and I like to listen to people I don't necessarily agree with. David Lammy was doing a radio phone-in show. I listened to it, and he was clutching his pearls in indignant horror at the use of the lexicon, the colourful terms here. Guess what? Even on his programme, all of the callers agreed with James Daly. They were like saying, listen, we are mollycoddling a generation. Not only that, we're relying on the state to pick up the pieces. You know, bad parenting, send them into school. I told you, my missus is a TA. She spends half of her day changing nappies of 4- and 5-year-olds who mess their trousers all the time. And it's like, we are relying on the state and then blaming the state. And I think he's raised a valid point, albeit in a colourful way.
No, I think that's right. And look, you know, it's all about helping parents. You know, some parents can't help their kids with their own homework, you know, and that's why people sort of fall out the system. So, you know, encouraging parents, I think, to, you know, and to be involved in the system. If schools can do all that they can to help parents help their kids and to, you know, help parents be better parents is obviously a good thing, because nobody's perfect. But as we say, the language...
and also to break the cycle, because it's often, you know, it's actually quite hard to learn to be a parent. And I think about this now with a 10-month-old baby, you know, it's, where do I learn? Well, I learned from my own parents, and I think they were pretty good, so I think I'm doing OK. You know, not perfect. But if you don't have good parents, where do you learn to parent? We actually need to think more about that as well.
I think the way he should have said this maybe was, rather than blaming parents, parent blaming, if you like, and shaming, try and encourage them to improve their parenting skills. That would be the way to do it, but at least we're having that conversation.
But whose responsibility is that? What, send them on a parenting class paid for by the taxpayer? How about just take agency for your own actions? And what's interesting about this is that in the working class constituencies like Bury, and like when Lee Anderson said, you know, people aren't able to cook, he was right on that. And when was it Brendan Clark in Mansfield was saying that some school vouchers for food during COVID were getting spent on booze and fags, which was true. When he said that, the media clutched their pearls, but the working class constituents go, well, yeah, that's happening. And I agree with you.
But what it's about is the disdain for the constituents, and that is what you've got to be really careful about if you're an MP. You can't be seen to be denigrating everybody that you kind of don't get on with or think is a bit deprived. You've got to be seen as someone that's trying to hold them up and support them.
And he has a very small majority in Bury North, so it's one to watch.
This is the thing, isn't it? But I think that the element here is there's nothing wrong with the family, by the way. There's nothing wrong with being a good parent and bringing up good children, and people are implying that that is, and it's about taking personal responsibility.
Well, and we want more good parents. We want more personal responsibility. Look, I could go on all day about this. Shall we move on? Nikki, a complete change of pace, but very interesting. The Times have got a story about online dating swindlers.
Well, Do you remember The Tinder Swindler, that film that Netflix had?
Never watched it.
People
but...
talked about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, this is a kind of a twist on that story. So instead of a particular person putting pictures of themselves and maybe kind of like lying about their personality and background and money, this is scammers that have taken a picture of a real doctor in Denmark, and there are about 7,000 fake online profiles of him. He's a real person, but women are being scammed into kind of falling for him.
I've seen the picture, actually, now you mention it. It's quite a hot doctor, isn't he?
I mean, I think he's pretty good looking, and he's got a great job and obviously cares about people. But I think what's interesting about this is, where does the responsibility lie when you steal a picture? Because he says, I would love to help people, but I don't know what to do to help, because it's scammers that are using my picture. That's kind of when tech companies probably have to step in and take some responsibility.
I did a story once about the Russian brides, and it's a fascinating industry. It's an industry where literally people who aren't often even women sit in offices just endlessly sending the same scam out, phishing endlessly, and getting results. Thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds getting clawed off vulnerable people.
And people feel so stupid with them and taken into it. They don't want to talk about it, but they should do, because the more we talk about this subject, the more people are going, yeah, that's happened to me, and it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Absolutely, and they're so sophisticated now. You know, any of us could get scammed, actually, if we were vulnerable at the right time in our life. I mean, the woman in this story, Mary Chater, was a widow. She just lost her husband.
Yeah, there you go.
And so, you know, when somebody's in that situation, it's so easy to take advantage of them.
And with AI coming to the fore now, just the idea that these fake images can just look so real,
all it's going to be almost.
It's even more terrifying.
So it's more important that tech companies grapple with this now.
I'd like to see a picture of this hot doctor.
Can I hold it up?
Have we got? Let's have a look.
There he is.
Yeah, it's quite hot.
Yeah, he is quite hot.
But he's not too hot that you think he isn't real.
No,
that's the cleverness of it.
He doesn't look like AI generated. There's just that little element of...
I'm not hot enough. My photo's not used at all.
What are you talking about?
Nobody would use my photo.
That's true. Nobody scams me and Charlie.
Charlie feels left out, that you're not being the basis of a...
You know what's going to happen after this conversation, don't you?
Maybe, Charlie, you should consider going on a diet. That is not true, by the way. He's a fine figure of a man. That's a seamless link to the next story. It's gorgeous. He doesn't need to go on a diet. He's talking about diet.
I'll come back.
You, however...
I feel objectified.
Well, it's an interesting story, because before you rush to go out on a diet, what it's saying is beware when you have these New Year, New You sort of New Year sort of fad diets, exactly, because people now are turning to what they see on social media, when they see someone that actually might aesthetically looks great, or someone's promoting some sort of pills or diet pills, and people are rushing towards these quick fixes in the new year. And what the Medical Association are basically saying is, don't do it, because if you're ill, you would seek medical advice before you start taking pills. But now, just the idea that you see something on social media is that's a quick fix to sort of sort out your waistline or whatever it is that you want to fix. People are rushing to that in their drones. It can be so detrimental to your health without seeking medical advice.
And there's that weight loss drug. You don't really need it, by the way. I'm being a bit mean here, but you know.
He's trying to make up for it now. It's too late.
There was a story yesterday, as you mentioned, Forest Chair. There was a story yesterday about a woman who was taking one of the weight loss drugs that you can do now. You can order it online. I'm not promoting it. I'm not even telling you the full story. But that was a full story. I've lost so much weight on this drug, and it's like, that's so irresponsible. Sharon
Osbourne, of course, took way too much. And part of the issue with this is that if you try and look into those drugs, they're all sold out. So as a consequence, there's a vacuum of dodgy or fake stuff coming in.
And also there's a black market. You know, people that have wanted to buy it on the black market without prescription have taken the genuine product from people that really need it, which is immoral, in my opinion.
Yeah, invented for type 2 diabetes.
Absolutely.
Type 2 diabetics can't get it now because people are buying it on the black market.
And the other thing is, you know, the reality is the only thing that works is consistently doing a bit of exercise and sort of eating OK. That's the only thing that works.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah, people don't want to hear reality, they want a quick fix. But look, we've had a hot doctor. Let's get on to this kiss that's up for auction.
Oh, if you insist. Oh, sorry.
He's been waiting to say that.
Get around.
Charlie, I never knew you cared. Let's talk about this snog that's up for auction.
Right, so a woman called Alice Little, who calls herself an intimacy coach. And having worked in that line of work myself, as everyone knows, I wouldn't necessarily call it intimacy coach. There's another term that's more straightforward to use. Anyway, she's selling her...
I didn't even know you'd done that.
Yeah, I used to be a dominatrix. Martin knows all about it. Not that she was a client ever. It just was like my one-time job. Anyway, that's why I feel able to talk about it.
Right, OK, yeah.
I knew about it in a passing sense. I'd done my research.
As in you were passing the door and you popped in to get Nicky to explain
No, I told him about it for
There was a strong side wind that day. We move swiftly onwards.
Anyway, this lady is selling her kiss on New Year's Eve, you know, the midnight kiss that apparently everybody needs to have, for $10,000. Now, this does include dinner and dancing, but she says...
Is that her?
This is... no, that's not her. She's called Alice Little. She's very beautiful, but come on, $10,000? I don't think you need to pay that much for a kiss with a pretty person.
OK, right, we can't use the picture, evidently.
Why?
Because it's a bit
then it's
saucy.
Is it too saucy?
No, it's just a headshot.
Oh.
Can I have a look? Hold it
Yeah.
up.
Is it defamation, though, if we show a picture and then say she isn't attractive or something?
Oh, where is she?
Which one is
I think
it?
she's
Top.
this.
Oh, there. Oh, you can't. It's very small.
Oh, it's very small, yeah, it's very small.
She's beautiful, but the point is...
She's an attractive redhead.
I think kind of auctioning it off and saying you're trying to do something good for somebody, I don't think that's what it's called.
How's it going? Has she got lots of donations, lots of money coming in?
Oh, it's not for charity, it's for her personally. She's getting the bid up, basically. So
And
she
does
says...
Does it specify, without going into too much lurid detail, does she dictate the terms of engagement?
Yeah, she says all it is a dinner, dancing and a smooch at midnight.
No, but a particular type of kiss. For 10 grand, you
She
want
doesn't
all
actually... It is just called a smooch, and that could be interpreted very widely, couldn't it?
But why would someone pay £10,000 for a smooch when you...
This is what we're saying.
I think there's much more better things that you could spend. You could spend money on yourself or a partner, take yourself
Well,
away.
yeah, a lot for 10 grand.
10 grand on a holiday.
I mean...
Anyway.
There we are.
There we are.
In any case, I would say let's move swiftly on, but I'm really nervous about moving swiftly on, the seamless link between these two stories. Charlie, you'd like to talk about the front page of the Daily Star?
Well, it is. It's on the front page of the Star, and it's about... it's a lovely picture. Well, the headline inside the Star is Viva la Beaver, and it's, as I say, a picture of a lovely, nice wet beaver on the front page there. And it's
like having
essentially... It's essentially...
Oh, they're cute.
It's a very serious subject.
That's a nice one.
Because
OK, so put in the fact we've got Kenneth Williams on the sofa today, Charlie. What's this story?
The beavers are so important to our ecosystem.
Well, they are, yeah.
They are. They support the wildlife, they support other habitats, but they were going out of fashion. Can you believe it?
Beaver was going out of fashion?
Beaver was going out of fashion, Martin. And now, but it's important to preserve and conserve the beaver.
Well, few would disagree.
Viva la
Few would
beaver.
disagree. But what are they actually up to?
Well, they've been reintroduced in northern Scotland. They actually were reintroduced into London as well. I don't know why I'm flicking through.
London?
But
In London? Where were they in London? Oh, they were in North London.
in
Was
North
it?
London.
Yes, yes.
The wetlands somewhere or
Yes.
other. But,
Yes.
and I know that the mayor at the time, and I did criticise the mayor of London actually for being part of this project with the RSPB because there's so many other issues going on in
What
London.
would
but he
beavers
was
be doing in
championing-
London? There's hardly any fjords.
They're on wetlands.
Well, I don't know, natural wildlife. Inner city children get to see real animals or something.
What the article actually says is that beavers are doing much more to help, things with like climate change and
Oh, so
preserving
they're positive climate campaigners,
exactly,
almost.
more than what humans could ever do. So we need beavers more than we need to be funding some of these climate initiatives.
Well, that's
bring
it.
back the beaver.
Charlie's righted all the world's wrongs
Can you just do that
simply
carry on
by...
snigger again? I've got to hear that carry on snigger. Go on, please.
I don't know where he's going from this morning.
There is no better place to end that, Nikki and Charlie, than that fantastic stuff.
On a wet
Absolutely magnificent paper review. And here is your weather with Alex Deakin.
Looks